Welcome to the first episode of Cloaked by the Ribbon Conversations. I'm Angie. I am a breast cancer survivor, and I am joined here by my two beautiful friends, Carolina and Pam. I wanted to do Cloaked by the Ribbon Conversations so that it could be a platform for where we as survivors are able to speak about our emotions, our truth, what our journey felt like, and for it to be a safe haven for us. We are joined here today, the first episode, and it's titled When Cancer Captures Your Attention. I am really honored to have these two beautiful women in my lives. We have gone through journeys together in similar time frames as well. We're newly recent survivors, and just to give you a quick little bio, Pam Nicholson is a mother, financial coach, educator. She was diagnosed with stage 3 inflammatory breast cancer in 2017. Pam endured chemo, radiation, and now she lives a cancer-free life. Welcome.
Thank you.
My next guest is Carolina. Carolina is a fighter, she's a mother, she's a wife, a daughter, a sister, and she's a friend. Carolina was diagnosed at 44 with stage 2B IDC, DCIS, lymphovascular breast cancer. And Carolina today as well is cancer-free. Just to jump right into this platform, again, it's about us being able to identify our feelings, to speak about our truth and what our journey looked like, because everyone's journey is different. And the one thing that I personally endured when I was going through breast cancer, everyone has an opinion, and what I realized is that everyone's journey is different. Our bodies are different. The way we respond to things are differently. So I just wanted to be able to have this so that we could feel comfortable once again to talk about it. My first question is, tell me about when you were first diagnosed and what did that feel like for you? Pam, you want to elaborate on that?
Sure. Okay, so as you stated earlier, I was diagnosed in October 2017. I'm an October baby.
Okay.
So the gift to myself that year was the gift of wellness. And my truth is, I was not one of those women who went to the doctor on a regular to just do my women's wellness exam. And because I'm always taking care of everybody else. So my health care kind of went on the back burner. In 2017, I said, you know what? I am going to gift myself the gift of wellness. I am going to go in and do my first mammogram. Right before that, once I scheduled it, I had started noticing that my left breast was slipping out of my bra constantly. So I was just thinking, maybe I'm gaining weight. Or maybe I need to buy a new bra. Maybe the elasticity is worn and I need to go shopping, because again, I don't really shop for myself. So kept noticing it, and I'm going, let me just stop for a moment and take a look at my body and see if I notice something different. And sure enough, my left breast was much larger than my right breast. And I said, well, let me just do a self-breast examination. And sure enough, as I checked my right breast, everything felt normal. I went over to the left side, and there it was. And I went, what is that? Went in for my mammogram, and because I told them I did feel a lump, they said, well, not only do you need a mammogram, but you also need an ultrasound. And that ultrasound really revealed this huge mass. So a few days after that, they said, well, we need to do a biopsy. And my doctor called me and she said, are you home? So as soon as she asked that question, I knew that it was not good news, because she never says, Pam, are you home? Right. So she told me that it was cancer. And in that moment, I think I just went numb.
Right.
It didn't seem like it was me.
Yes, yes.
You know,
Someone else made a bad call.
yeah,
They made a
and
bad call.
I'm like, okay, this is my first, you know, rodeo out the gate with the mammogram, and this is the diagnosis. But I have to tell you that immediately I thought about, okay, my number has been summoned, and so I'm going to bend down, lace up my bootstraps, let's go. Because one thing cancer will not do, it will not take my life, number one, and it will not take my joy. So I knew it was a fight, but I was willing to, let's go, let's fight.
Do it.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I didn't know what I was embarking upon,
Yes.
because I did not have any close friends or relatives that I knew of at the time that had walked this journey. So it was kind of like an out-of-body experience, but again, I had to get mentally prepared because I knew it was going to be a fight. But I love my life. So
Amen.
I had determined I'm willing to fight for my life, whatever that means,
Right.
you know. So yeah, that's pretty much what that first experience of getting the diagnosis was for me.
Well, we commend you. And again, we just want to just note that everyone's journey and getting that call is all different. And Carolina, how was it for you?
Well, let's see. I had endometriosis a few years before I got diagnosed. So I was on hormonal replacement therapy. There is a high chance once you do this hormonal replacement therapy that you can develop cancer. So that was always in the back of my mind. And I remember in 2016, I was just feeling tingling sensation in my breast. I was just feeling uneasy, like it just felt way, like you said, and they were numb, they were tingling, there was just a lot of different vibrations going on. I got a scan, I did my mammogram and an ultrasound because I had dense breasts, which also requires mammograms, and I came back as positive, negative, that everything is fine, and I, inside of me, knew something wasn't. And I remember my son, who is at that awkward age where his head is a little bigger than the body, he comes running and he hit me. As I took a shower, I felt something. And that's when I called the doctor. I put everything in motion. Confirmation a couple of months down, November. I was working in Jacksonville, the exact day. I was working, and ironically, I was selling cancer policies.
Wow.
Health accident, and I remember looking at my phone, and it was a doctor's office, so I said, okay, let them leave a message. I saw they called again. And by the third time, I knew the sense of urgency. I just had that gut feeling that it was positive. So I excused myself from the meeting, went to the bathroom, returned the call, and they told me the news. I cried, went back out, finished my day of work, and I got in my car and I just drove to Jacksonville, to Georgia. And I don't remember how I got there. I don't remember driving back. I just left. And that's how my journey has begun.
For myself, I often would do self-breast examinations on myself, and I had just turned 50, and I had come back from an amazing vacation with my boyfriend at that time, and I was home and I felt my breast, and I felt this lump in my right breast, and I just realized that it had not been there before. And 2 days later, I go back to work, and I ran into my primary care. I work at a hospital as well. I ran into my primary care in the hallway, and I told her that I felt this lump. And I was due, so I was 2 months from my annual behind in having my mammogram. But my mammograms prior had never had any findings, and we arranged for myself to have a mammogram and an ultrasound, and they detected something, and the very next day I had a biopsy. And I'm gonna tell you, I had never had a biopsy before.
It's painful.
the floodgates opened when I laid on that table. I remember the nurse holding my hand and hearing that psh, and I mean, I just like bawled. And she actually, the doctor actually stopped taking the specimen, and she was just like, Angela, are you okay? She's like, just breathe, breathe. A day later, she called, and she informed me that I had breast cancer, and I too was numb. Like, I thought to myself, what the fuck? Like, you got the wrong, like, yeah, it was just like, you got, I actually, at that point, I didn't cry. I didn't know what to feel. I just was just like, she didn't say cancer. I had a friend who actually worked at the hospital, and she came and came up to my office, and she sat with me, and we cried together. And I just took took all the information down, and I was overwhelmed. We were overwhelmed.
It is.
You know, I remember the radiologist told me first find a breast surgeon, then find an oncologist, and I'm writing all this stuff down, and the only thing I knew was that I wanted to live, and I was going to do whatever it took that I had to get myself better. And so I just took the necessary steps, and we'll talk more about that. What was the worst experience you've had from your surgery and your treatment? Carolina, you start off?
I do have to, it's a little personal, but I was one of those it's a ridiculous outrageous number that gets shingles while you're doing chemotherapy. I remember that.
Yeah.
And my doctor informed me that they usually get shingles in their lower back extremities, on your side. I got shingles in my woman part. Yes. And it was just, it was pretty shocking for the doctor as well. I guess I was like his case number 2 of people that had gotten shingles. And because of the region where it was in my, yes, you know.
The G area.
The G area.
The G area.
Yeah, so because of that, where it was a little hard to treat, and you know, sum up that to everything else that was going on with chemo, the nausea, the diarrhea, and everything else. It was very, very tough. That was got me thinking. It was really so. Yeah. In addition to, again, like I said, all the side effects of chemo, and you don't have any control of your body. I mean, that itself and cancer in itself, the whole thing is tough. It's been very tough.
So Carolina, how long was your actual chemotherapy treatment? Meaning like weeks or months?
I did, so I started in April and I finished in November.
Okay.
So I should know this number, but
yeah,
there's just some things that,
of course,
I don't know, you kind of block off. But yes,
yeah.
I started in April and I finished in November.
And how many surgeries have you had?
I've had, this is going to be, I had 5 surgeries. I just had one in January.
Do you foresee any other surgery?
I do have to go back because of the lymphedema, and there's a little reconstruction they're going to do. I opted for a trans flap reconstruction, and I did not do any implants this time around. I guess my train of thought is if I'm taking the cancer out, why put something foreign in me?
Right.
Again, my opinion. So yeah, so I've done that. So I've had five surgeries.
5 surgeries. Pam, how about you? How was your treatment?
Okay,
surgery?
so in terms of worst experience, I have a few, but there's one that tops them all. So during chemo, I first had to go through the big one. They call it the Red Devil. So I had to take I had to take 4 rounds of that, and went through that one pretty successfully, And then the second part of it was Taxol. I was supposed to do 12 rounds of that. Well, I would say my second round of it, I ended up with a side effect called the hand and foot syndrome.
Yes, I've heard of it.
And what ended up happening is swelling. My hands started to swell. My feet started to swell, accompanied with pain and this burning sensation. And what became unbearable was I literally could not, my hands got so swollen and my feet got so swollen I couldn't walk. I couldn't open a bottle of water. And so that began to impede on my ability to take care of myself every day. And that was extremely excruciating for me. I had to stop working because before I was going to chemo, I would go to work. You know, I just was literally staying true to my schedule every day.
Right.
But this process stopped me in my tracks, and the sad part was they could not tell me how bad it was going to get. In fact, it got so bad, my oncologist said, can I go get my camera and take pictures so that I can show interns how bad this can get, because I've never seen it get this bad before.
Wow.
So I literally had to spend my days with my hands and my feet intermittently in and out of ice to be able to cope with the pain and the swelling.
Swelling of it.
And all I was told was it's going to get as bad as it's going to get, and then it will begin to
get better.
Right, rescind.
Right.
But at that point, I was crawling to the bathroom. You know, I was just in that much pain. So once it started to kind of wear off a little bit, then all of my skin on my hands, they were dark. Like it was burnt. It was like a chemical burn.
Yes.
And so all of my skin came off of my hands. So all it's new skin.
Wow.
The skin on my feet,
New beginning.
it's a new beginning.
Yeah.
So when they say my hands look new,
They are new. They are new. They are new.
Literally, this is all new skin. So just to watch that process that you can actually feel, to see your skin slough off your body, that was mind-shattering for me. You know, but like I said, the worst part was not being able to fend for myself and needing someone to take care of me and to help me, because I pride myself on being a strong woman, independent woman. And in those days, and it must have been about 2 weeks, but they were the longest 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Because again, it was accompanied with pain.
Right.
You know, and so in those moments, I cried in the middle of the night. I cried because it hurt so bad. And I kept thinking, when I know I have never seen a dark cloud come and stay. So it has to pass. But when? Exactly. When is it going to pass? So that must have been, I think, the worst experience. And that was as a result of that Taxol treatment. And so my oncologist said, okay, listen, we've got to switch you to Taxotere. And so, but she did tell me, you know, you do understand that this is the one that's on the news right now, that it's with the whole lawsuit. And so I had to sign, you know, this paper that I understand, but listen, I need to be able to rid myself. I said, honey, I can go get myself some hair. You know, if I need some hair, you know, I can rock it, ball, buzz cut, whatever. But in terms of the neuropathy, listen, I vote for my fingers and my toes. I need to feel them. And I can always buy me some hair. I can't buy any more fingers and toes. So we made that transition, and then I was able to get through chemo. You know, so but the hand-foot syndrome, it's a beast. You know, it's a beast.
It is, it's so humbling when you feel like I'm a go-getter, I'm a type A, I'm out there. Right.
But you feel like you don't have control.
And you don't have control. And that's when you're just like, this too shall pass, I know, but when? My nails also got the black
neuropathy.
It's neuropathy. I still have actually residuals where on this sand, all
Just
of a sudden, it's like if somebody, like, I lose control of it. I'm like, okay, let me pick that up again with my left hand. So,
it's crazy. It's crazy. I remember for myself that when my neuropathy came, when it left, when it was coming back, I was so excited. I remember I used to get my, I love to get my nails. I always like to get I always wanted to still feel like a woman, you know? I didn't want to feel like cancer had defeated me. My worst was being on The Red Devil, adriamycin. So I was on adriamycin, Cytaxin together, and then I went to carboplatin and Taxin. So the beginning, when I went through The Red Devil,
It is the Red Devil.
I remember my toenails and my nails started turning black, and hell with the hair being gone. In the beginning, I did use a pool cap. For the ones that don't know what a pool cap is, it's a device, and it's a freezing cap, and you strap it to your head, and it has to be on dry ice, and you change it like every 20 minutes. So I used to walk in chemo clinic looking like I was going to a freaking picnic. I'm carrying around the cooler, and at that time I had girlfriends that were coming, and they were helping me to change the cap. I burned myself a couple times on the forehead. The dry ice was just, the cap was just too freezing, it's just too cold. But after a while, that just became to be too taxing and too tiresome for me. And I too, you know, total independent woman, I didn't want to continue to ask people to come with me, to be with me during chemo. My worst side effect was metal mouth. I remember it just felt like for 4 months I just sucked on coins, dirty, nasty coins. And I had a few great friends that made this home remedy for me with kosher salt and baking soda, and I would swish my mouth with it like at least every 4 hours, and that would help. It would help to reduce like the taste, but food just didn't taste the same. You know, as a result, I lost like 20 pounds. My iron level, my white blood count just like totally depleted. As I was talking to you all this morning, you know, my white blood count is still really low. Generally, I stay in the 2s, where most of us should be in the 5s. But I don't know if my white blood count will ever go back up, according to my oncologist. And I'm okay with that, as long as I just like, you know, eat exactly. Supplement, have as much iron as I can in my food. But the fatigue, the neuropathy, the metal mouth was the worst. And you know, of course, being a woman, hair, it wasn't so much as losing the hair on my head that got me the most. It was when I didn't have eyelashes.
Yes.
Let me tell you, for me, because it made me look like I was sickly, like I had cancer. And I never, ever, ever wanted to look like I had cancer. And the worst thing I hated was everybody coming up, how you doing, how you feeling, you don't look like what you're going through. I just wanted to say, shut the hell up.
Yes.
Like, okay, I appreciate it. And you do.
It
You
comes
do.
from a good place.
It does.
But
It does. But it's just, sometimes it's just like, thank you. Thank you.
Just give me a hug.
Yeah.
Well,
And let me
chemo just from far away.
let me just be. Let me just be. Because the one thing through this journey I've learned is, you know, we all need our time and our space to feel. I always allowed myself 8 minutes every day to bawl in this house by myself and cry.
To shower.
I bawled. But then I brought it back. I constantly spoke to myself. Talked to myself a lot anyway, but I constantly, spoke to myself, encouraged myself, like, I'm not gonna stay here, because you're gonna beat this. You're gonna beat this. And the 5 months of chemo was a walk in the park in comparison. I'm sorry, my surgery was a walk in the park in comparison to chemo. So a deep flap. I had a bilateral mastectomy with a deep flap reconstruction. My surgery was 14 hours. It was really long. I had to have 2 transfusions because I was just like bleeding a lot. And that actually took on to that 14 hours because it wasn't originally planned to be that long. also was supposed to have my ovaries removed at that time. But looking back at it, hindsight, I'm so grateful that we weren't able to do that, because I don't think my body would have been able to endure after 14 hours of surgery. But the ports, I couldn't stand the drains. Sorry, not the ports, the drains. I had a total of 6 drains. And I remember the hospital, my insurance had got a nurse to come.
Oh yes.
And I don't even know what the hell she was doing, because she didn't do her job. Like, I was skimming my own, you know, I learned how to skim it. I was just tired of carrying around this extra, you know, this extra. I wanted them to come out so bad. But thank God, because I've heard of stories where, you know, lots of women have been, got infected. And I did relatively really well from surgery. So, and I'm grateful. And I'm really grateful. I'm really grateful. Okay, so we're going to go on. We're going to continue. My next question was about how this journey has impacted your family. Cam?
Okay, so I'm the mother of one son, and he's a teenager. So
how old is he?
Now he's 17. So at the time, my biggest concern was, number one, to identify who the weeping Wandas were in my family. We all have them. And to notify them that due to this diagnosis, I don't want anyone weeping or crying around me or over me. Because my attitude and mindset was, I'm gonna beat this. And so my motto was, team, we are up. And if you cannot be up, you don't need to be anywhere around me, because you're gonna bring me down.
Right.
So once I identified those people in the family, I called them to let them know that I was going to do something that I don't generally do, and that's talk about my private business. And I was encouraged or inspired to share and to open up my mouth and talk about this particular issue. And so after I notified them, listen, this is what it is. This is what I need from you to be up, because I'm choosing. I have a choice every day. I can be up or down. I am going to make a conscious decision to be up. In spite of how I look, feel, or think, I choose to be up every day. So I need my village to be up with me. So once I did that, my biggest concern was my son. How was he going to handle it? And he was doing okay until the day he realized, so Mom, they're gonna take your breast off? Just that thought broke him. And we had to go to the park and have a serious heart-to-heart conversation. And I said, listen, I'm choosing to live, and I'm choosing to fight. There are wonderful mothers with 2 beautiful breasts laying in the grave. I'm choosing to get rid of the one that's offending me. So this one breast, Mom, I can still see you walk across the stage of graduation. I can see you grow up and become the man that I want you to be. So it's going to be okay. It's not going to change my character, what I'm able to do, who I am. And so when he looked at me like, did you really just say that? Mom. Yes, I really did just say that. Do you want a dead mom with 2 breasts, or do you want a living mom with 1? And he was like, no problem. I'm part of Team We're Up. We got this.
That's it. That's it.
And from that day moving forward, he was absolutely fine. And when you know, as moms, if your kids are fine,
you're good.
You're good.
Even through all this.
Even through all of this, if they're fine. And seriously, from that one conversation, when he understood that revelation of what I explained to him, he was fine. And I'm like, we got this. So every day I would get up. He's like, Mom, are you good? I'm like, I'm good. Are you good? I'm good. So let's go. So yeah, it just kind of helped shift the energy so that everyone in the family was positive. No negative Nancy's allowed. No weeping Wandas allowed. You have to be part of Team We Are Up. So
love it. So glad to hear that. How about for you, Carolina? Your family?
For my family, I was really open about it. When I got diagnosed, I called my mom, who's my best friend, and my husband, and let them know what was going on. I then proceeded to have a meeting with my siblings. We went out and had dinner, and I told them, and I just asked for support. As far as my family, my son and my husband, I think it's really brought us even closer.
Okay.
My son, at the tender age of 8, had to deal with his mom having breast cancer and the uncertainty. Is she going to be alive? And it was hard to explain. And it doesn't matter how many books I did go to the library and I researched. Every family and every kid is different. And what my husband decided to do, they did the Susan Cave walk.
Okay.
And my son did the marathon the first time in his
That's
life.
awesome. That is.
And he came in first place.
Wow.
For his age. So when they both came home, I remember I had just been released from the hospital. They both came home with medals and everything. I said, Mom, look at what I did. And that was it. That just showed me they were with me.
Absolutely.
And they still continue to be with me. And I'm really proud. It definitely has made us stronger.
Right.
Even when mommy's down, they're my food.
Absolutely.
I love them. Yes.
That's wonderful.
It helps you to keep going, doesn't
Yes,
it?
yes,
It gives
it
you
does.
another perspective, another reason just to keep moving forward. My impact that this has had with my family, I remember telling Christian and Alyssa, I had told my oldest daughter separately, and we were on FaceTime. My family are in Maryland, and Chrissy she took it well. She knows who her mom is, and she encouraged me. Same as Christian. I told Christian and Alyssa together on FaceTime, and I could tell from my daughter, she stepped away from the phone. So I told my son to go out, talk to her, whatever, and she called me back, and we had a moment. We had a few moments that particular conversation. The family has not been. We're not new at all to cancers in our family. Both of my grandmothers had breast cancer, and 2 aunts, 2 cousins. One cousin, ironically, she and I were first cousins, and she was diagnosed 2 weeks after I was diagnosed. So I was talking to my breast surgeon, and he strongly suggested, and I wanted to anyway, to do the genetic testing. And I am BRCA1 positive, so that I could inform my kids and allow Alyssa to make an informative decision whenever she chooses to. But my family was able to come down and be with me many times during the journey. But I think if anything, they were just worried. And probably more so just because they weren't here in state. But it cancer-free, and it's worked out really well. So, whoop, 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 whoop.
I actually, when I shared the news with my family, I was like, and as I want to let you know, I'm going in full on. I'm fighting. I'm doing everything I can because I do want to be alive, and I'm also going to share my story. I'm going to be very open, and they were like, what? And I said, yeah. I want to tell my story. I want it to be what I want, where I want to be, and where I see myself.
Right.
And I've been an open book about it. Some of them are not in agreement,
Right.
but I think sharing and what you're doing now, this platform, helps.
Definitely.
Yeah.
To
I
see
agree.
that we are all going through this. Maybe at different wavelengths or different times and we're all going through something.
Absolutely. And we'll continue,
Yes,
right?
and we'll continue, yes.
And we'll continue. Lastly, I wanted to ask, what is your happy place? And how do you continue to stay positive?
My happy place is, honestly, I have to be grounded in God's Word. From the onset of this journey that I didn't know how to navigate an excerpt from Psalms 23 was used to inspire me. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil. Why? Because thou art with me. So sitting in the waiting room, waiting for the appointments, waiting to be scanned, going through chemo, that scripture ministered to me over and over again. And I understood, if you think about it, I'm walking through the valley of the shadow of death. Do shadows really harm you? I was like, no. But it's just evident that there is something there that's lurking, that's bringing a threat.
Exactly.
You know, and so I knew that cancer was that threat. But when I knew that my father, he said to me, if I am walking with you and I've got you, who are you going to be afraid of? What are you going to be afraid of?
Right.
And in that moment, I was like, nothing. Like, if my daddy has me, it doesn't matter who's coming around the corner, you know, what you coming out of the box with, I'm not going to fear anything. And just that word carried me through this entire process, and it still does. And so that's my happy place. You know, when I forget, or I'm feeling tired, or I might be depressed, or I'm having those moments where I want to cry, you know, because I'm the strong one, so I'm always the encourager and the supporter for everyone else. But those moments come when I have to just release and cry. I think about what he said to me. I'm with you. So because I know that, and that just centers me. It just brings me right back to, in spite of what it looks like, what it feels like, what it sounds like, what the threat may be, if I know he's for me, he's more than the whole world against me. And so that really is my happy place. With a little water, you know, a little beach, a little pool. That's my happy place. So thank you, Angie.
Thank you. Beauty of living in South Florida. Absolutely. Thank you for sharing that, Pam.
You're welcome.
Carolina, how about you? Happy place.
Happy place. So positive. I do want to start off by saying this has been a really tough journey for me. Battling depression again, and it's more not even physical. It's just the more mental fatigue,
emotional.
That emotional, where my body is not at par with my mind.
Exactly.
I mean, I'm ready to fly, but my body is
something totally different.
Struggling, and that's where I find myself struggling. But I've started practicing yoga, and I've been doing meditation, and just being a little bit more mindful and more spiritual and accepting of my surroundings, and just breathing one day at a time. It gets me through.
It's a good place.
And it got me when you called me, because you called me, you said, what's your happy place? I'm like, I don't have a happy place. I'm depressed. I'm frustrated. I can't get out of bed. And after I hung up, I said, I do have a happy place. I'm grateful. I'm mindful. I'm in the moment. I'm sharing my story. I'm helping. I'm going to be okay.
Absolutely.
I'm able to know that although you can get down, you're going to get back up again. It's going to happen. So
allowing permission. Allowing permission
to, it's not always going to be, what do we call them? The pink cheerleading squad. And it's not always going to be rosy.
Absolutely not.
It's
absolutely
a
not.
tough journey. And
our body took a serious toll in ways that many other people have not been privy to. You know, our body was mutilated for months on end chemo. Absolutely, absolutely, and then surgery. So you know, we have to continue to, and I get it. I get it.
And life goes on.
Yeah, it does. It does. It does. It does. For me, the one thing I love, my happy place is the beach. The beach and the water. And check this out. For the viewers, no, I really can't swim like that. I just can't. But however, I got a house with a pool.
She's practicing.
And I love to go to the beach. That was like the one thing that drew me here anyway to South Florida. There's something for me about when I get off of work, especially working in healthcare, and you know, I usually carry my beach chairs in my car, and I will just go straight to Hollywood, Dania Beach, pull out my chair, and not even if I just get in the water. I just love to hear the water, see the water, just get my feet in the sand. It indeed is my just takeaway, like the world and all of its problems, and Angie and her thoughts, and I just like to just drift away. And like I stated before, I've always allowed myself, you know, the permission to feel down for myself. I just try my best not to stay there. Pick myself back up and to keep moving, because, you know, when we're surrounded and, you know, we could be in a room with crowded people and we could feel so isolated. You know what I mean?
Yes.
At that moment, exactly. Or you could just be in the house by yourself and you're just going through, or in the car and you're going through a moment, or even when the doctors are talking to me, especially my oncologist, who I love dearly. But she could say some stuff, and really, most of the things she says, I just don't even like what she says, but I love her.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Because everything I want, she generally says no, or my GYN. No, you can't have that, you know. So I just try to, with that being said, like remind myself, okay, like I'm suffering from, after having my oophorectomy, I am suffering bad with insomnia and the fatigue, you know, at 51 years old, and I really want them to give me something. However, I know I can't really be on it. I can't have anything that will, you know, heighten estrogen for me. And I can never. So either I'm going to deal with this, and how am I going to deal with this? So I just continue to try to place myself with positive thoughts and affirmations, and surround myself. That's another thing. Right? Yes. Surround myself with positive people.
Yes,
sure. Because I had to rid of some people. It was just too much.
Yep.
Too much toxic. I just no. I had to clean some house a little bit. And thus far it's working. So thank you all. We are almost out of time. I wanted to find out from Carolina, Pam, if you had any questions that for this particular, our first episode of When Cancer Captures Your Attention, that you may have.
I don't have a question, but I do have a statement. And I just want to commend you and say thank you so much. And I appreciate you giving us this platform to just sit and talk and have a conversation about this journey.
Thank you.
Because as a survivor, I don't think that we get a lot of opportunities to really sit down with people that understand exactly what it feels like, what the experience was and still is.
Looks like, exactly.
The residue that we still have to deal with, and just it's just very helpful. I think for me personally, I'm honored to be sitting with you and with you today, just to talk about this whole journey, because I really haven't had a chance. I've shared bits and pieces, but to just sit down and woosah for a minute and say some of the things you were saying, I was like, oh my gosh, I forgot about that. But
you know, toenails falling off, you'd be like, oh my God, they just fell off. Just gone, just gone.
I did survive that, and I did survive that. Even when you described the sound during the biopsy, I was like, I remember that sound.
Yes.
You know, it's just it was so much so fast. You know that you're just in survival mode.
Exactly.
You're in survival mode, and so I just want to say and encourage those that are listening. It's so important to share. So important to make space, a safe space that we can really just open up and talk about it, because we don't do enough of that. We're so busy listening and trying to solve everybody else's problems.
And just day to day.
Just day to day, just constantly running. But this has truly been a blessing. So I want to thank you for this platform, and I really hope that it inspires other women to have the same type of platform. I really do. Thank you.
Thank you, Sam. Carolina?
So I want to second what Pam said. Thank you so much for this, for getting me out of my house and getting me dressed.
Love you, Carolina.
I said I wasn't going to cry, but
you can. This is our place.
But I want to also thank you for saying you said it's okay to be in that space.
Yeah.
It's okay to feel to cry, it's okay to allow yourself those moments, but you need to dust yourself off and make it through the day, make it good, feel, smell, you know, you're alive. You pinch yourself, you're alive.
Yes.
And I still have a little bit of chemo fog, so I completely lost
We
my
all
train
do,
of
honey.
thought.
We all do.
And yeah, something very important that I wanted to say is that as I and now in year 3 of this journey, if you out there are newly diagnosed, I would suggest, I know you hear the word you got cancer, you want to run and educate yourself because there's so much out there. You don't have to run right away and get yourself cut up and do all this. There's a lot of valid information, which in hindsight, if I could go back, I probably would tweak a few things. So when you get diagnosed, make sure that you have the information you need. Ask questions. There's so many good support groups. This is a good platform as well. Before you make decisions. And like you said, you're going to lose some people along the way. Not everybody understands this journey. And surround yourself with great people, and more so people who are
understand and get it.
Who we're going through this.
We get it.
And we get it.
We
You know,
get it.
today I'm not feeling good out there.
Exactly.
It's tough at the world.
Yeah, exactly.
And tomorrow I'm like,
Yeah.
So,
The scar itches.
the scar
Hell,
itches.
you know what I mean? And you're just like, you're ready to scratch and break up the scar.
So thank you.
You're so welcome. Thank you all so much for coming and supporting. And I just to piggyback off of what Carolina stated, you know, the support is so necessary. It's so needed. And again, just knowing that our emotions are valid. You know, what we feel. And I also remember, like, especially going to the doctors, I didn't even know sometimes what questions to ask.
Yes.
You know what I mean? I used to be in the cardiologist's office, I didn't know. I was so overwhelmed.
So much.
I just was like, she was like, do you understand? She used to write things, and she used to draw things, and, you know, and there's the receptors and things like that. A lot of that stuff like really went over my head.
Right.
I used to say to her, and then I remember when she drew my breast, and my breast surgeon, and I said, well, where exactly is the tumor? And then, you know, because mine was in the back, like towards the chest wall, you know, a cavity, and which made it difficult to kind of get to. But you know, they did their job. But I just want to again encourage everyone to, you know, don't give up on yourself.
Yes.
And another very important thing that I think is essential, you need to believe in the medical team that you choose.
Yes.
And sometimes, you know, it's going to take a first try and a second try. And I get it when people say you need to have a few opinions. I totally understand that. But you need to feel safe and comfortable, when you have this team of medical professionals fighting on your behalf, because we entrust them.
It's not just that one visit. I've been with my team for now 3 years, so it's a long process, lasting relationship.
Yes.
So, like you said, you do want to feel comfortable. You want to know that if you need to make a phone call at 1 o'clock at night,
exactly, somebody's going to
answer,
call you back,
and know that any question is valid at any time.
Absolutely.
And your feelings are valid, and there's going to be some really, really great days, and there's going to be some days
really
that are just not.
suck days.
And that's okay too.
Indeed. Yes, indeed.
One of the things that I want to leave with the listening audience is, for me, I've learned how to literally take life one day at a time.
Oh yes, that's many
Yes.
models.
Before, I was such a planner, and this had to be done by this date. But because of this, cancer got my attention. I asked God for what I need in this day, and He has delivered every single day. I ask Him for the energy that I need, the insight that I need, the strength that I need, just my daily bread.
Right.
I don't worry about tomorrow. So now when people say, well, Pam, can you do that on that date, sweetheart? I don't know. I will try.
Yeah.
But let me get through today.
Yes. One at a time.
I literally take my life one day at a time. And it's a beautiful thing.
It is.
Because I stop and smell the roses now.
How about that?
I stop and feel the breeze
Yeah.
through my weeds.
Something that We did.
And to piggyback on you again, it's so funny because that was something that my son said to me. He's like, you know what, Mommy, I'm not happy that you got breast cancer, but breast cancer has made you more chillax. And I was like, what did you say? And I was like, yeah, before you were so strong, and you want to brush home, and now you're just like, okay, let's do what you want. And now that's when you move one day at a time.
Yes.
So
it will make you do that.
Yes, it will.
Yes, it will. It will. I think for
although
me,
the old me, is knocking, I'm like, get back in there.
I'm like, I'm just trying to live like my best life. I think I'm like now. My thing is, I try to go on every trip possible. Like, you know what I mean? Like, trips are like, they're going to leave or the world's going to stop or something. I'm like, okay, where you want to go? Want to fly there? Want to go there?
Yeah.
Let's go.
Let's go.
Let's go.
Absolutely.
But it's definitely changed, of course, my perspective on life, seeing things in a different way. And also, the way I love on people. You know what I mean? I'm just grateful. I'm really grateful. Listen, we are about out of time. I want to thank everyone for coming on live, for the ones that were able to join me. And this beautiful, beautiful session will be on video. It will be on my website, which is artfulangels.com.org. Also, you can follow me on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. I want to... Artful Angels.
Yes, Artful Angels.
Artful Angels. ARTFULLANGELS. I want to thank Shirley. Shirley is indeed the creator of all the video camera gods, and she is amazing.
Yes.
She is the founder of Women Empowerers.
Yes.
Shirley conducted my first video on my website, and she has blessed me and graced us by doing this first episode. I want to thank my beautiful family that are watching live now. I love you so much, Baltimore. I will see you soon. All my friends home too. I love you so much. Thank you, MJK, for praying for me this morning. I want to thank my amazing board of directors. I want to thank Dylan Cash, who is my amazing website designer of Colossal Music Group out in California. Thank you, Dylan. And I don't want to forget Tiffany, Gracie, I call her. Gracie is my marketing coordinator, and I love her to death. Thank you so much, and thank you all for joining. And remember, everything we feel matters, and we must live every day to our fullest, and be true to yourself. Be well, and I'll see you on the next episode. Thank you so much. Woo!